The lady said to me, what do you want? And I said, has he got any scallops? Because I know this time of year is good for the scallops from Canada. And you delivered. You didn't overcomplicate it. You didn't try and show off. You just gave me a beautifully fresh, huge scallop that was cooked perfectly. That's not so easy as it sounds, is it?
Actually, it is. It is, because that's the only thing you can do with scallops. I mean, the scallops, a good product, do less, and you do more.
So why do so many chefs get it wrong, then?
I have no idea why they get it wrong, but they may have not paid attention in school, huh? How about that?
Now, you've come here from Patina in LA, which is one of the greatest restaurants in the world, and you've created a name of consistency, quality, local produce, seasonal produce, and these are really the recipe to making a great restaurant. It's not that complicated, is it?
Actually, it's very simple. You hit the nail on the head. It's simplicity. You know, find the best products and do little or nothing to them, except just make them in a way that, you know, you yourself, first of all, like to eat them. And I think that's the key in anything. We as chefs, we as professionals, you know, we have to have the integrity to actually produce products for the customer that we like. That's always been my motto, and I think that that's certainly a recipe for success. And then, of course, you know, from time to time, you can wander off a little bit, get a little adventurous, do the big thing, but always with a solid foundation. If you do those things, you should be fine.
And answer me this question. Why is it that the French and the Italians are the best cooks in the world?
How about history? How about having an incredible amount of history in this kind of area? I mean, think about it. Italy. First we taught the French how to cook. Is that right?
They may disagree, but I agree.
And then we taught the rest of the world how to cook. So...
But I tell you what you have got, and you've got local ingredients, and you've got these things called vegetables growing in the garden, which is always good. But you people seem to have passion, and that's what we really love about cooks, chefs, and food generally. The desire to want to make it taste great, and you have got that as an innate ability.
We have that, and you know, it goes back to our way of living, to our families, to our, I mean, who are the best cooks in Italy? Moms. Housewives. Sometimes you get a better meal just in somebody's backyard than in a 3-star Michelin place. And why is that? Because there's tradition. There is a long-standing way of passing recipes down generation to generations to generations. And of course, you know, we do have the backyard, we do have the garden, we do have the seasonality, and we cook what's there. And how can you go wrong?
I always have to smile when people say that you have to be rich to cook good food. I think this is nonsense, because actually vegetables are not very expensive. All right, there's all these fancy organic stuff, but actually just a good root vegetable will cook a great meal. Something like belly pork is always one of my favourite dishes, because if it's cooked slowly and well, it will be as delicious as any gourmet meal.
It is. Oh, man. That's exactly what it is. I mean, no, you don't have to have a lot of money to cook good. In fact, you know, it's interesting that... the average consumer could have a better meal if they did a little homework, got themselves to a farmer's market, got themselves a couple of those really, really good products that are available, and then went home, did little or nothing to it, and ate them. So it's really not the expensive ingredients that makes the meal. It is the ingredient that makes the meal. So a fine tomato. Now, what better is there than a great tomato salad? Or you go to the market, just like I did this Saturday. So you go to the market, here you see the first tomatoes coming up on the vine. Then you see those little potatoes, yes? Then you see a little bit of the string beans on the other side over there. Then you find some beautiful strawberries. You go home, huh? What do? You cook those potatoes up a little bit. They're still warm, steaming. Yeah. You cook up the string beans nice and tender. Then slice up tomatoes. Put the whole thing in a nice big bowl. Dress it with some nice balsamic vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper. Yes. Then you got a meal.
And none of that's expensive, and none of that is complicated. Does it still surprise you how much contempt people have for their bodies, the rubbish that they put in day out without thinking?
It's unbelievable. You know, it's it's amazing and surprising, because if they only knew what they're doing to their bodies. Think about it. I mean, all those sugars and fats and artificial flavorings and all these chemicals that they're putting into their bodies. I mean, it's amazing. Now, I know, we live in a society where taste is actually sort of denominated by fat. Lots of sugar and fat, and that's what makes it tasty. But there's other ways. There's alternative ways. I mean, we can get other things without that.
Absolutely, and I've never met a fat chef in a long time, because you guys work too hard, don't you? You do about 22-hour days and sleep for about half an hour and then travel in between.
That is correct. So, the secret to not being overweight is actually not eating. Or not having time to eat. And that's our case. And I have to confess, many times I go without eating because I can't. By the time I have time, I'm not hungry. By the time I'm hungry, I have no time. I mean, I had maybe something for lunch, a small little thing, but then from 5:30 to 11 o'clock, I've got no time. So when am I going to eat? Later? I don't want to be here for more, so I want to go home.
And you're a fine dining chef, let's be honest. You're doing fancy things all day with food. It's great produce, cooked well, but it is fancy. I asked you earlier, what do you enjoy eating at home? And it's interesting what you said.
Yeah, listen, I'm very simple when it comes to those things. And it's one of those things. It's really just about a product. And it could be the simplest thing. And that's what sparks my interest, and that's what gets me going. So really, you don't have to do complicated things. And although, yeah, we're around all these fine uniquities, but those can only be eaten so many times. In the end, you revert back to simple things. I mean, if you have to eat every time and every day, twice or 3 times, you better choose wisely, huh?
Teo, it's been a real thrill talking to you. You're just so passionate and dedicated, and that's why you're here today in one of the newest and most extravagant, delightful casinos in the world. And the money that Steve Wynn's put into this is just phenomenal. And to be in this location, what a thrill it must be, because so many people are stuck in a corridor somewhere in between 1 or 2 casinos. To get this location is such a thrill.
Well, I have to say that this has been a lifelong dream and an unbelievable opportunity. So thanks to Steve Wynn.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Teo Schoeniger is the executive chef here at Sinatra's at Encore. And thank you for talking to us on the world's best shows from Las Vegas.
Thank you so much for visiting with us at Encore.